Hi, good evening to all of you. So, welcome for session number 2, internal security. And if you can recollect, if you can recapitulate that in the first session, I attempted telling you the syllabus and the importance of this module in the overall scheme of civil service exam. And thereafter, we attempted understanding the constitutional scheme as per which maintenance of law and order is a state subject, whereas maintenance of national security or internal security is the responsibility of union government or federal government. And based on that, we also have attempted understanding that what falls within the concept of maintenance of law and order and what falls within the ambit of maintaining the national security. And thereafter, towards the end, we were able to reach to this conclusion that if we have to create an environment of peace in which every citizen feel safe, secured, well protected, so that we can accelerate the pace of economic development, then central government in India will have to coordinate with state governments, will have to cooperate and on security issues, and then only we can achieve what we are targeting. So, this much we have discussed in the first session. Now, we are all set to take the discussion forward and we will enter into the technical part of the discussion. Today, if we see in India, we are having very diverse and complex nature internal security threats. In different parts of India, different types of internal security problems are there, challenges are there, diverse nature threats are present. So, we will be talking about the diverse nature internal security threats which are before the country. But I would just like you all to remember that whatever threat is there to internal security, whatever threat is there to internal security. Now, for that, no single factor is responsible. For example, Naxalism, for example, militancy, for example, terrorism, for example, religious fundamentalism, for example, religious radicalization, for example, organized crimes or any other threats. If we see, for such threats, you will not find a single factor which is responsible, but many factors are responsible. Single factor alone is not responsible. So, what we can say, if we examine the internal security threats, internal security threats before India. If we will examine the different types of threats which are there before the country, what we can say, right, what we can say that geographical, historical, political, cultural, ethnic, geopolitical, social, right, social, economic, global. Okay. So, interplay of all these factors, right, interplay of all these factors. Okay, interplay. Right, interplay of all these, right, all these factors have resulted in diverse and highly complex nature internal security threats, internal security threats for India. Okay. So, the internal security problems which we are seeing in different part of India, for that geography is to be blamed, history is to be blamed, politics is to be blamed, the geopolitics is to be blamed, socio-economic factors are to be blamed, ethnic cultural factors are to be blamed, some global events, incidents are also to be blamed. So, whatever internal security problems we are seeing in different parts of India, we are facing diverse nature problem, and these problems are more complex than what it appears to us through media reports. The way media reports about terrorism, the way media reports about the security challenges in Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the way media reports about the problems of northeastern part of India, the way media reports about the Naxal problem in Red Corridor belt of India, the way media reports about jihad, the way media reports about cultural and other problems. So, problems are much more complex than what it is presented through media. Only when you will study the problem, only when you will attempt knowing the root cause of the problem, then only you will be able to see the complexity of that problem. You will be able to decode the factors which are responsible for such problems. So, while you are writing or talking about diverse and complex nature internal security threats of India, you will always have to mention that interplay of geographical, historical, political, cultural, geopolitical, ethnic, social, economic, global factors have given birth to very diverse and highly complex nature internal security threats. So, first thing you need to understand that today if we see different types of internal security threats for India, not only diversity is there with these threats, but highly complex are these threats. And these threats which are there before the country, they are on account of geographical factor, historical factor, political factors, cultural factors, ethnic factors, geopolitical factors, socio-economic factors, and some other factors. You cannot say that one problem is because of one factor. So, interplay of factors, and the interplay of factors have given birth to diverse as well as complex nature internal security threats. Now, the question arises, which all diverse and complex nature internal security threats India is having in the current scenario or in the present scenario. Okay. So, in current and present scenario, which all threats are there? First is terrorism. Terrorism. Okay. So, first and the biggest internal security threat before the country is terrorism. But terrorism is a very general term. Okay. So, everything may fall within the ambit, it is an umbrella term which may include all other internal security threats in some or other way, but terrorism is there. But in addition to terrorism, we also have, internal security threat in the form of militancy. Okay. And this militancy we have primarily on the soil of Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay. In which part of India this problem is there? Militancy as a problem is there in Jammu and Kashmir. Then we also have the problem of insurgency. Okay, insurgency. And this insurgency as an internal security threat is in which part of India? North eastern part of India. Okay. In the state of Manipur, in the state of Nagaland, in the state of Assam, okay, in the state of Mizoram, in the state of Meghalaya, in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. Okay. So, insurgency is yet another problem. Then of course, left wing extremism, left wing extremism. Okay, left wing extremism, which many a times is referred as Naxalism. We will have a detailed discussion. Okay, many a times is referred as Naxalism. Sometime it is also referred as Maoist insurgency. Okay, Maoist insurgency. And this problem is in which part of India? Red Corridor Belt. We will have a discussion on this. Red Corridor. Okay. Which all states are the part of Red Corridor? Bihar, West Bengal, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, eastern part of Uttar Pradesh, eastern part of Madhya Pradesh, eastern part of Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, okay, Telangana. Okay, these all areas are the part of Red Corridor, in which we have the problem of left wing extremism or Naxalism, which many a times is referred by some experts as Maoist insurgency. We will have a detailed discussion. Right now I am just telling you that interplay of different factors have given birth to very, very diverse nature internal security threats. Then we have, right, then we also have a big problem in the form of religious fundamentalism, and religion centric radicalization. Okay, religion centric radicalization. Okay. So, religious fundamentalism or religion centric radicalization, that also is gradually slowly becoming a big threat to the internal security of the country. Not only this, okay, not only this, cyber terrorism, new form of terrorism, right, cyber terrorism is also a threat to internal security, and there is no need for me to tell you that all of a sudden we have seen massive expansion in the cyber space of India. Large population has entered into the cyber space, they are working, they are getting benefited with cyber world, okay, but our cyber space is not well protected not very well secured, and this is the reason why threat of cyber crime and cyber terrorism is very high. We will have a detailed discussion on this, but a newer threat before the internal security of the country is in the form of cyber terrorism. Okay. Not only this, right, not only this, but in addition to this, right, we also have one threat in some parts of India, many parts of India I would say, that is ethnic violence. Ethnic violence. Okay. So, ethnic conflicts, the bloodshed, the killings which are happening because of rivalry between two ethnic groups, that is also a threat to, right, that is also a threat to our internal security. And this problem is there in many parts of India, but acute nature problem is there in northeastern part of India. Okay. This problem is there in many parts of India, but acute nature problem is there again in the northeastern part of India, ethnic violence. Okay. Then another threat, we will see each of these threats one by one. Okay. Another threat is in the form of organized crimes and economic offenses of organized nature. Okay. So, organized crimes and economic offenses of organized nature, that also is a threat to internal security of the country. So, when crime is committed by one individual, okay, that is crime. But when the same is committed by a organization, if that crime is happening in an organized way, where different players are there with different roles assigned to them, it is known as organized crimes. So, what all is will fall within the ambit of organized crimes or economic offenses of organized characteristic feature, which are threat to internal security of the country. What all will fall within this category? First will be, right, first will be smuggling. Okay. What will fall within this? Smuggling. Second will be illegal trade. Third may be drug trafficking. Fourth may be human trafficking. Fifth may be counterfeit of currency or fake currency, injecting fake currency in the money supply chain of a country, right. Not only that, money laundering, gang war, extortion, okay, organized extortion will fall within the category of organized crimes and economic offenses, and these are, right, these are again a threat to internal security of the country. Okay. So, again I am telling you, organized crime and economic offenses, that will include what? Smuggling. Okay. That will include what? Illegal trade. Illegal trade of what? Anything. For example, in India, illegal trade of, tiger skin, illegal trade of, elephant tusk, illegal trade of idols which are stolen from temples, okay, antiques, paintings which are stolen from museums, which have very high economic value, illegal trade of human organs. Okay. So, illegal trade, then drug trafficking, okay, drug trafficking, then illegal trade of weapons, okay, illegal trade of weapons, then counterfeit currency. What is counterfeit currency? Fake currency which is put in the money circulation of a country, economy, counterfeit currency. Okay. Then I told you money laundering. We will have discussion on all these things, but first you need to understand these are the threats to internal security. And why these are the threats to internal security? Primarily because these are source of terror funding. So the terrorist organization, the separatist organization, the Naxal outfits, the insurgent groups, from where they are getting the money? They are getting the money through these activities to sponsor their underground movements, to purchase weapons, to pay to their cadres, to make logistic arrangements for whatever activities they are involved. They need money. And from where they are getting money? They are getting money through organized crimes and economic offenses. So, organized crime and economic offenses, how it's a threat to internal security? As they are prime source of terror funding, prime source for terror funding. Okay. Even today if you go to Mumbai, it is the commercial capital of India, but it is a city which is facing acute nature challenge because of gang wars. You must have seen in Bollywood movies that this area belong to this bhai, this area belong to this bhai, and surprisingly we are finding which area belong to police, where police is dominating. Parallel governments are there. Forcefully they are, collecting money from people who are in business. Okay. So what I am just trying to say, smuggling, illegal trade, drug trafficking, money laundering, extortion, all these things, money earned is what is being diverted towards funding of terror, and that's how it's a threat to internal security of the country. This is what you need to understand. Okay. So one by one I will be explaining basic meaning and then we will be going in detail, but I hope you have understood that interplay of geographical, historical, economic, social, cultural, political, geopolitical, global factors have given birth to very diverse and highly complex nature internal security threats for India. Not only diversity is in threats, but highly complexity is also there. These problems are more complex than the way it appears when we are seeing the problem only through media reports. Tomorrow when you will be selected in this exam, and if you are allotted IS or IPS, then only when you will have ground experience of administration, then you will know how complex these problems are. Okay. So these are the diverse and complex nature internal security threat, and I told you that out of all these threats, the biggest threat is terrorism. Rather, it's a very general term which includes everything, right? Militancy is one form of terrorism, we can say. Insurgency is one form of terrorism. There is no definition, universally acceptable definition of terrorism. Okay. And perhaps that is the reason, perhaps that is the reason because of which we have not been able to fight terrorism, combat terrorism in a decisive manner, because we don't know. People across the world, they don't know exactly what exactly is terrorism. Okay. But we should try to understand that when we are using this word terrorism, what actually it means. Okay? Terrorism. Okay? Terrorism. See, the word terrorism actually has originated from the word terror. And what is the meaning of terror? Fear. Okay? What is the meaning of this word? Fear. Okay. So, terrorism, right? Terrorism, what exactly is terrorism? Okay. What exactly is terrorism? In the broadest sense, right? In the broadest sense, we can say use of, in the broadest sense, use of intentionally indiscriminate violence, intentional intentionally indiscriminate violence, right? Violence as a means to create, as a means to create fear, as a means to create fear in, right, fear in minds of common man. Okay. So, intentionally if someone is indulging violence with, right, with the intention of creating fear in the minds of common people, that act, that kind of activity will fall within the ambit of terrorism, right, will fall within the ambit of terrorism. And when they are, using violence, they are least bothered that who is getting killed, whether it's a security force, whether it is police force, whether it is civilians, whether it is civil, authorities, who is the victim, they are least bothered. So, intentionally indiscriminate violence, if is the means to create fear in the mind of common man, that kind of act of an individual, group or organization will fall within the ambit of, right, will fall within the ambit of terrorism. And this intentionally indiscriminate violence is to achieve some political, religious, ideological aim. Okay, since it is intentional, so always intention is to, achieve some political, religious or ideological aim. Okay, ideological aim. So what I am just trying to say, that you should have this understanding that whenever we are using this word terrorism, what exactly is the meaning of terrorism? An act, violent act, intentional violent act of an individual, group, organization to cause fear in the mind of people at large is termed as terrorism. Intentional, violent act of an individual, group or organization to create fear in the mind of people at large, okay, is what we can say terrorism. Okay. And if there is bomb blast, if there is bloodshed, if there is mass killing, if there is indiscriminate fire at a public place, all that will fall within the ambit of what? Terrorism. If there is, hijacking of an aircraft with a demand to release terrorist, okay, that will also be a terrorist act. Okay, but common things which will fall within the ambit of terrorist act: mass killing, indiscriminate fire, bomb blast, okay, bloodshed, high intensity bloodshed, all that will fall within the ambit of terrorism. And there are different forms of terrorism. Okay, there are different forms of terrorism. When we use the word cross-border terrorism, what is the meaning? Cross-border terrorism, tell me, what is the meaning of cross-border terrorism? That which originates from other side of the border, but killing is on other side. Okay, bloodshed is on other side, bomb blast is on other side. So when terrorist acts is planned on foreign soil but is executed on the soil of that country, then that is what falls within the category of cross-border terrorism. And perhaps India is the worst victim of cross-border terrorism. Okay. So planning is on foreign soil, support is from foreign soil, encouragement is from foreign soil, money is coming from foreign soil, weapon is coming from foreign soil, but killing is happening on Indian soil. That would fall within the category of what? Cross-border terrorism. Okay. Sometimes we also use the word state-sponsored terrorism. So if a country is sponsoring terrorism, meaning providing weapons and training and financial support to terrorist organization, if that kind of support is given by a country, given by the government of a country, army of the country, that will fall within the category of what? State-sponsored terrorism. Okay, state-sponsored terrorism. Sometimes we say homegrown terrorism. Okay, so terror acts which originates on indigenous soil, on our own land, and our own people who are angry with government, who are dissatisfied with government, if they are causing terror attacks, they themselves are planning, that will fall within the category of homegrown terrorism. And many other forms are there, right? Many other forms are there. So we need to understand, right? We need to understand what exactly is terrorism. Okay, so are you, and it's a general term. I told you that if we give liberal interpretation to this word terrorism, if we give liberal interpretation to this word terrorism, it may include militancy, right? Militancy can also be treated as one specific form of terrorism. It may even include insurgency. It can, it can be termed as one very specific type of terrorism, insurgency. Left-wing extremism or Naxalism can also be treated as one form of terrorism, but a very different form. Religious fundamentalism or radicalization on religious basis is also one form of terrorism. Okay. Cyber terrorism, of course, is a form of terrorism, one form, but very specific. So terrorism, right, if we give liberal interpretation to this word, then it may include even militancy as one specific form, insurgency as one specific form, ethnic violence also, right, as one specific form. Because what we are saying, that intentional, indiscriminate violence to create fear in the mind of people at large is what we can say terrorism. Okay. So, have you understood? Yes or no? You have to participate, right? Have you understood what exactly is terrorism? And, right, and let me just tell you, right, let me just tell you, okay, that, right, that one thing which you need to understand, that when we are talking about terrorism, right, when we are talking about terrorism, one thing you need to be very, very particular, that India is one of the worst victim of terrorism in the world. And terrorism is the biggest or the greatest enemy of humanity on planet Earth. Every time you are writing an answer on terrorism, you should not be hesitant to use these kind of expressions, that India is one of the worst victim of terrorism. Okay, India is one of the worst victim of terrorism in the world, one of the worst victim of terrorism in the world, and terrorism is the greatest enemy, biggest enemy of humanity. Okay, biggest enemy of humanity. Why? We all are from the land of, Gandhi, and I hope you all know that Gandhi is seen across the globe as embodiment of truth and non-violence. Sad part of the story, that younger generation in India is gradually getting divorced from Gandhian philosophy and Gandhian ideology. Many of them, it's very, you can say, frustrating, disturbing when I listen to this kind of conversation on social media platform, that majburi ka naam Gandhi, no, majbuti ka naam Gandhi. Gandhi has told world that what negotiations can achieve is what weapons can never achieve. Can you imagine the power in words of Gandhi? Can you imagine it? He said only 2 words to Britishers in 1942. Quit India. He said only 2 words to Indians: do or die. With these 2 words of Gandhi, the roots of British Empire were shaken. That is the power of non-violence. What nuclear bomb cannot achieve, what the deadliest weapon cannot achieve, these 2 words of Gandhi can achieve. Sad part of the story, that people in this country gradually are getting divorced from reading quality books, and they have started forming opinion on the basis of some misinformation which is circulated through most powerful university of the world, that is WhatsApp University or Facebook School or other social media platform. Okay, this is why as a civil service aspirant, I have recommendation. You should form opinion only after you read quality content, read good books, read soft copy, read blogs, listen to people who have read, who have in-depth knowledge, acquire knowledge, and then form opinion. And thereafter when you speak, you should always substantiate the stand of yours with logic, examples. Okay. So what I am just trying to say, what I am interested in telling you, that Gandhi is seen as embodiment of truth and non-violence. And you know, Gandhi, forget about that. Gandhi said that there are three forms of violence. One is violent thoughts, wrong thoughts if trigger in your brain. That is also a form of violence. Then he said that use of wrong words. And then, of course, action, violent action. So Gandhi was of the opinion, when he said non-violence, he has not only given the philosophy of prohibiting the violent act, but he has used the word non-violence, that you should acquire a state where even violent thoughts should not trigger in your mind. When you are speaking, when you are expressing yourself, through your words also, you don't cause violence. And of course, you don't, promote hatred, you don't promote, killings, you don't, make people move towards violence, and so on and so forth. And of course, violence act. So we need to have such understanding, deeper understanding. Okay. So what I am interested in telling you, that terrorism, okay, India is one of the worst victim of terrorism in the world. This is happening in a country which has gifted the world a great leader, a great visionary, Mahatma Gandhi, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, who is seen as, who is an embodiment of, who is seen as a symbol of, truth and non-violence across the world. Okay. And why I am saying that India is one of the worst victim of terrorism, it's not me saying, right? But everything is bringing us to this conclusion. I would just like you all to remember this. Global Terrorism Index, Global Terrorism Index report for 2019, okay, has ranked India the seventh worst terrorism affected country. And what is a cause of concern? What is a cause of concern? 2 years before we were ranked 8th. So our rank has slipped. Okay, our rank has slipped. And this is a cause of grave concern. Right? This is a cause of grave concern. Okay. Gradually you will start understanding these things. Global Terrorism Index Report 2019 has placed India as the 7th worst terrorism affected country in the world. This Global Terrorism Index Report is prepared by IEP. Some of you might have heard about this. IEP, this is Institute for Economics and Peace. Institute for Economics and Peace, and it is a global think tank organization. It's a global think tank, organization with its headquarters at Sydney. And there is no need for me to tell you where is Sydney. Right, headquarters is at Sydney, Australia, okay, Australia, and 2000 onward, since 2000, this organization is providing a very comprehensive summary of global trends and pattern in terrorism. Since 2000, this think tank organization, Sydney-based think tank organization, is providing a very comprehensive summary since 2000. Since 2000, this organization is providing a comprehensive summary comprehensive summary of key global trends and patterns in terrorism. Okay, and this is one global report which will be referred by companies before they make investment outside their country. They always look into this report. So on one hand, we are trying to present India as a favored destination for investment, but on other side, these kind of reports, global reports, are weakening. Okay, these kind of global reports are weakening. Okay, now Gorakhpur is saying Gandhiji also make many mistake. What about them like a Bhagat Singh death? Again, the problem is that many of you who claim, see, as far as Bhagat Singh death is concerned, many feels that had Gandhi used his power fully, he could have bargained, he could have negotiated with Britishers as far as making them convinced that he should not be, Bhagat Singh should not be hanged. But in the process, he would have deviated from his own philosophy, and perhaps he would have done damage to even the ideology and principle of Sardar Bhagat Singh. Okay, so don't go by what some of the people have to say, as far as, and don't go by what I have to say. You read, you study, right? I am not contesting what you are saying. Yes, from one perspective, if we see, we can say that had Gandhi bargained hard, using fullest his status at that particular point of time, okay, at that particular point of time, maybe, who knows, Britishers would have been convinced. But this nation, the way we remember Bhagat Singh, and you just think, no, many people don't even know about Bhagat Singh. After throwing the bomb in Lahore Assembly, he decided that he will not run away from there. He favored his arrest. And even while throwing bomb in the assembly, he was very particular that the bomb should be thrown at a place which is not causing harm to anyone inside the assembly. Try to read, properly. The intention was that Britishers are not listening. Perhaps this is the way. So you can imagine that when he threw bomb in the assembly, what was the intention? And in that respect, if you see, I place Bhagat Singh, I have so much regard for him and his ideology, his principles. He opted for supreme sacrifice. But he said, I will not compromise with my ideology. And even Gandhi also decided not to deviate from his ideology. Okay, so these are the things which you cannot see on surface and the way it is presented. If we have to make an evaluation and assessment of Sardar Bhagat Singh, ideology, belief, principle, there were difference of opinion between him and any revolutionary and Gandhi. And why Gandhi? Within Congress also, no? Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and Gandhi, Ambedkar, Gandhi, okay, and so on and so forth. Okay. So on that, the basis of difference of opinion, you cannot undermine one because of other. Okay, that is the way we should look towards the events and incidents which happened during India's freedom struggle, right? India's freedom struggle. So slightly in a different way, we should look towards the events and incidents. So coming back, right? So this Global Terrorism Index since 2000 is presenting a very comprehensive summary of annually key global trend and patterns in terrorism. And 2019 report has placed India, okay, 2019 report has placed India, okay, how? As the 7th worst affected country. Now the question is, which are the countries above us? Okay, so number 1 is Afghanistan. So worst affected country in the world. Okay, number 2 is Iraq. Number 3 is Nigeria. Number 4 is Syria. Number 5 is Pakistan. Number 6, Somalia. And number 7, India. So you can make out. Now again, this ranking also, some people may say that, see, Pakistan is ranked 5th, but we are ranked 7th. This may give some happiness to some of you. Okay, but you just see that 10 worst, affected countries in the world, if we see, we are placed with which type of, on one hand we have the aspiration to be the world power, to be the global power, but on other hand, right, we are placed with which type of countries in the world as far as, countries affected with terrorism is concerned. Afghanistan, Iraq, Nigeria, Syria, Pakistan, Somalia, India. This is a cause of grave concern. This is a food for thought for all of us, that what all changes in our policy, we can alter the trend and we can change this scenario, right? We can change this scenario. Now, what is the recent most, right? Recent most, see, Niti Aayog has started questioning the terror ranking by IEP. This is the recent most development. I hope you must have heard about Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog has questioned. When we cannot improve rank for many years, then we have started questioning. This is not the way we can combat with terrorism. Has questioned institutes, terror ranking, right? Institutes terror ranking, and we have questioned this terror ranking by saying that how come country like Palestine, Lebanon, Sudan, okay, Congo, which are having so much conflict and so many killings are happening, they are below us, but we are above them. Okay. So there are certain parameters on which they are doing the ranking. There are certain parameters on which they are doing the ranking. They are, preparing a very comprehensive report. So there is no point, right? There is no point. Even IEP, when Niti Aayog questioned, IEP also came with an explanation that it is based on number of terror incidents per year. It is based on number of fatalities caused by terrorists per year. It is based on number of injuries caused by terrorists per year. It is based on total damage to property caused by terrorism per year. 4 broad parameters. But what India wants? See, one thing you all should remember, statistics hides more and reveals less. And statistics can show only what you want to see. Even on COVID-19, the way we are presenting, right, the way we are presenting data. Okay, so there are so many ways to present data. Now, what is happening, right? Now, what is happening? We have started congratulating ourselves. Okay, we have started congratulating ourselves. Well done, we have dealt with COVID-19 so well. Okay, and on what basis? Very soon, India will become the country with highest number of COVID-19 infections. Okay, we will overtake USA, maybe 10 days, 12 days, or maybe towards the end of this month, we don't know. Okay, but very fast, we are right now, when we are discussing today, second most infected country in the world. But how we want to see? No, you cannot see this on the basis of number of cases. We should see on the basis of, right, number of cases per million. Okay, so when we are seeing on the basis of number of cases per million, then question will arise that then why we are not comparing with China? China में तो only 85,009. Then we say no, China से तो case report ही नहीं हो रहा है. It's a communist country, they are suppressing fact. Okay, ठीक है भाई, चाइना से नहीं देखो. बोलेगा पाकिस्तान से कंपेयर करते हैं. बोलेगा नो, पाकिस्तान में टेस्टिंग नहीं हो रहा है. They have poor infrastructure. Okay, Pakistan se nahi. We want to set the rules of the game which we want to play for. हम ही रूल बनाएंगे. ठीक है, फिर हमने बोला अच्छा, we have the highest recovery rate. And what is the basis of, what is the basis on which you are concluding that a person has recovered? एंटीजन टेस्ट करा करके नेगेटिव हो गया, चलो भैया हो गया. 7 days के बाद एक टेस्ट करा लिया, whether it is confirmatory or not. So sad part of, so only thing what I am just trying to say, that being blind towards problem cannot be the solution to the problem. We have to accept the harsh realities, and then we have to plan that how we are going to deal with the problem. And then we need to make committed efforts on ground with a strong will to deal with the problem, then only we will be able to resolve the problems. Just being blind towards the problem, just ignoring the grassroots realities cannot be treated as a solution to the problem. Ignorance cannot be bliss. So what I am just interested, when Niti Aayog questioned the institute's terror ranking, they also came up with the explanation that see, our ranking is based on 4 broad parameters, and those parameters include number of terrorist incidents per year, number of fatalities caused by terrorists per year, number of injuries caused by terrorists per year, total property damage caused by terrorist per year. And then we are saying, right, that this is not a very good way to rank, you should be doing it, right, that how many terrorist incidents, right, per 1,000 people. We are suggesting that this can be a better way. Okay. What I am just trying to say, this is a cause of concern that we are ranked, right, we are ranked number 7. Okay, we are one of the worst terrorism affected country in the world. Okay. And I would say, that see, few years before, when India gave the call to world that we can combat terrorism only when we will stop making distinction between good and bad terrorism. So you should also mention this in your answer, that few years before, it was India which gave a call to the world that to win a decisive battle against terrorism, right, to win a decisive battle against terrorism, we will have to stop with immediate effect making distinction between good terrorism and bad terrorism, right. We need to stop with immediate effect making distinction between good terrorism and bad terrorism. There is nothing called good terrorism. Terrorism is always bad. Okay. When we said this, it was widely acknowledged and appreciated by the world that yes, there is merit in what India is saying. Right? There is merit in what India is saying. And we also told the world that only through international cooperation but local actions we can win the battle against terrorism. We cannot, right, in present day world order, we cannot fight terrorism just with individual effort of a country. The world will have to collaborate. The world will have to cooperate. So global cooperation, international cooperation, but local action, firm action on ground, and international cooperation. Only way we can combat terrorism. We can fight terrorism. The world has cheered what India has said on many global platform, regional platform. And our call is loud and very clear that we can only win the decisive battle against terrorism if we stop making distinction between good and bad terrorism. Only when we will stop making distinction between good and bad terrorism, we can win the battle against terrorism. There is nothing called good terrorism. Okay. Why? Because we have seen on the global scale, on the global level, what? A country will sponsor terrorism in other country and they will treat that as good terrorism. But when they are becoming the victim of terrorism themselves, then they feel it's bad. So there is nothing called good terrorism and bad. Now see the problem. Very rightly and powerfully, very correctly, India has given, right? India has given a call to the world to stop making distinction between good and bad terrorism. But within our national boundary, we are seeing emergence of a new scenario. And what is that? We have started justifying some violence, right? So, if it is happening in any other part of the world, we are saying that stop making distinction between good terrorism and bad terrorism. But in our own country, right, something which is happening, we are trying to see the religion of the victim, the religion of, the terrorist to decide the response. And this is what is the main reason why we are one of the worst victim of terrorism in the world. हम क्रिमिनल का, टेररिस्ट का कास्ट देखते हैं, धर्म देखने लगे हैं, एथनिसिटी देख रहे हैं, रीजनल बैकग्राउंड देख रहे हैं. And that is what is, right, that is what is governing the response, societal as well as state, government's response. Government's response is based on who is the victim and who is the accused. And caste credentials, religious credentials, and forget about anything, right? Forget about anything. अभी आप देखो ना इंडिया में क्या है, ग्रोइंग बेंड ऑफ माइंड अमॉन्ग द यंग पीपल. वी हैव स्टार्टेड चीयरिंग violence, extrajudicial killings. We have no sympathy with criminals, but criminals should be punished in accordance with the law. We don't have a constitution which says that someone who is accused of killing others, society can shoot that person in a public place to cause deterrence. Law should take its own course. I hope you are aware. And let me tell you, right, let me tell you, अगर हम रूल ऑफ लॉ से कॉम्प्रोमाइज करेंगे इन एनी पर्टिकुलर इंसिडेंट, इवेंट, केस, it will weaken the whole system. Okay, so what I am interested in telling you that in the recent past we are seeing emergence of a situation and scenario where the response of a state and society towards victim of terrorism and towards terrorists are being governed by religious, caste and other credentials, and this is a very, very disturbing aspect. Terrorist is a terrorist, whether he is from, Hindu religion or Islam or Christianity or Sikhism, and for that matter even Buddhism or Jainism or any other, or from which part of India, whether from South India or North India or northeastern part of India, that doesn't, that should not make any difference. Okay, that should not make any difference. Okay, so are you able to understand these things? Okay, that very powerfully we gave a call to the world that only way we can win a decisive battle at global level against terrorism if there is international cooperation and firm national action, and the world will have to stop with immediate effect making distinction between good terrorism and bad terrorism. And world was also able to see merit in what India was saying. All powerful countries, they appreciated what we said, they approved what we said, they endorsed what we said, and they agree that yes. But thereafter we are seeing within our own country politicization of crime, politicization of terror acts, and then the response of society and state both getting governed, looking into the caste, religious and other credentials of victims and terrorists or criminals. We cannot decide our response on the basis of what is the religious credential of victim or what is the religious credentials of terrorist. Our response should be same. And you all should remember one thing, when you are writing answer or writing on terrorism in essay, there is no space for violence in a civilized society. There is no space for violence in a civilized society. There is no place for violence in a democratic country like India, where we are claiming before the world that we have most vibrant democracy. You just see what's happening in USA. The counting of votes of presidential elections is in progress. But what is the state of affair in the oldest democracy of the world, you see? We are telling the world that we are the most vibrant democracy. We are one of the most successful democracy in the world. Only 73-year-old, yet we are, more vibrant in comparison with 150 years, 200 years, 225 years old democracies. Okay, so in our democratic setup, there are many ways to raise our voice, to register our grievance, to express our dissatisfaction, even to express our anger, to display our differences. There are so many ways, democratic ways, peaceful ways, non-violent ways, and on no ground, no matter what, we can justify killings, we can cheer bloodshed, we can celebrate deaths. If death is celebrated in any society, it's not a civilized society. If killing is, justified by any individual or any society, it's not a civilized society. Okay, we need to have this understanding. Okay, we need to have this understanding. So what I am interested in telling you that we are one of the worst victim of terrorism, and I would just like you all to remember that terrorism in general worldwide and in particular India is causing huge economic loss as well as emotional loss. Right, losses. Okay. So terrorism worldwide is causing huge economic losses and emotional losses. Huge economic and emotional losses it is causing worldwide, right? Worldwide. And particularly in India, this loss is huge. And when you are writing on economic loss, now you have to display maturity and depth of knowledge. So economic loss is, right, economic loss is on account of, right, damage to property, infrastructure caused due to terrorism per year. Okay. So that is what will fall within the ambit of, right, that is what will fall within the ambit of direct loss. What is indirect loss? What is indirect loss? To combat terrorism, countries which are affected with terrorism are spending lot of money. Had that problem not been there, this money which we are using to combat terrorism is what we would have otherwise diverted towards development. So you need to understand this. Immatured people will see the loss only on surface. So at surface, what is the loss? Loss of infrastructure, loss of property, which is on account of terrorism. Terrorists will, blow up railway tracks, buildings, bridges. So direct loss is there. Okay, direct loss is there. But I want you all to touch upon all aspects of economic loss. So one is loss of property, loss of infrastructure. Indirect loss is what? Huge quantum of money which countries affected with terrorism have to spend on combating terrorism. Had that problem not been there, we would have easily diverted that money towards, development, towards socio-economic development, welfare schemes and program. That is indirect loss. And remote loss, okay, remote loss, opportunity loss, because of, right, because of terrorism. Investors who otherwise would have come to us will not come. Opportunity loss. The way we would have been mining in the mining belt of this country with less cost, we have to spend too much just to make security arrangement in Naxal affected areas, to mine the minerals. If we are mining coal, and if the mining cost is high, coal cost will be high. If coal cost is high, electricity produced through thermal power station per unit cost will be high. And electricity is one of the basic input in production. So cost of production will be high, product cost will be high, consumption will be low, taxes for government will be less. You just think at deeper level, what kind of economic losses? So people with, right, lack of maturity and understanding, they feel Economic loss is in the form of, you just see, no, right, you just see, I hope you are keeping yourself updated and informed about current and contemporary developments, right. Let me tell you, right now we are conducting elections for assembly in Bihar, State Legislative Assembly of Bihar. Now you see how much is the cost of conducting election in Naxal affected districts. It is so costly affair. We have to deploy many, large number of security forces. That deployment will be for many days before and after elections, of course during elections. It is so difficult to take EVMs to different polling stations in Naxal affected areas. It is so challenging for polling party to reach to polling stations, and so many things which are to. So you need, if that problem would not have been there, the cost of conducting elections would have been less. So what I am just trying to say, that economic losses and emotional loss. So do I have to tell you about emotional loss? You all are, right, at least sensitive, you can touch upon this point well. Okay. In India, what we do, how big is a terror attack, that we see on the basis of how many deaths. Come on, we cannot, quantify the terror attack on the basis of number of deaths. But we have to understand, just see, if in a terror attack, if 5 security force personnel are killed, now you think that the personnel who was killed, if he is the sole bread earner of the family, what will happen? The next generation and the forthcoming generation of that family will suffer. Children education will suffer. The children will grow with anger against society and even sometime against government if they are not well taken care. They will have a feel that my father opted for supreme sacrifice while performing duty, but the state has not taken care of me and my family. Anger against the state. Okay? Not only that, the entire village will start feeling that why should we send children to defense forces, to security forces? Let me tell you, and if you are honest, then only you can understand this problem in your answer. If you are honest, I know many of you, rather most of you, when will be successful in this exam, in the prelims, and when you will be filling the form, you will be giving the service preference. You will be giving service preference as IAS number 1, IPS number 2. Why is it so that today number of applicants for civil service exam conducted by UPSC is exceeding 10 lakhs, but number of people filling the form for CDS exam is less than 2 lakhs. Why is it so? Right? Both are class 1 officers, both are entitled for same salary. Why is this so? Okay, so that depends on, right? So these are the emotional loss we need to understand, right? We need to understand. So what I am interested in telling you, that emotional loss is not only in terms of deaths and injury, but emotional loss is consequential impact of it on society, consequential impact of it on family, citizenry, the whole environment, the atmosphere, the ecosystem, how it's going to impact. Only when you will, touch upon, then you can present that the emotional losses because of terrorism is huge. Okay. So, I hope you understood. So, what I am just interested in telling that terrorism, right, terrorism is a general term, okay, very general term, and all forms of terrorism, right, all forms of terrorism, okay. So, militancy is one form of terrorism. So, let me tell you what exactly is militancy and why we should not use the word, terrorism and militancy as synonyms, okay. So, let me just tell you militancy, and this problem presently is in which part of India? Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, and even within the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, particularly in Kashmir Valley, okay, particularly Kashmir Valley. At one point of time, right, at one point of time, even the state of Punjab has witnessed this problem of militancy, and Punjab has paid heavy price, but the strong political will and the role of security forces and police forces in Punjab, and then the support which was given by the people to efforts of security forces and police forces, we have been able to defeat militancy in Punjab. People in other parts of India, and even those who are right now in Punjab, they may not even have idea what used to be the state of affairs in late 1970s and early 1980s in Punjab. But thanks to a strong, right, and decisive battle which people of Punjab fought against militancy, and for that the leadership is also to be congratulated, because they decided to combat militancy with a strong political will. But we need to congratulate Punjab Police and the security forces, and the kind of support they got from people. We have been able to defeat militancy in the state of Punjab, and today Punjab holds the special distinction of being one of the most developed part of India. Very high level of prosperity is there. It is very difficult for people even to imagine that 40 years before what kind of problem was there in the state of Punjab. So, we have examples, right, we have examples before us. So, I would just like you all to first understand what is militancy. So, this word militancy has originated from the word militia, right, militia, okay. And what is the meaning of this word militia? See, militia, whenever, when a social organization, right, reorganizes itself, on the pattern of army or armed forces. Armed forces. Then such organization is termed as militia. Okay. So what you will find, one small organization which in initial days will be a social organization, but suddenly it will reorganize itself on the pattern of army. So they will start giving weapon training to cadres. There will be, commander, area commander, supreme commander, like that. Okay, like that, and they are paid salary. Okay, they are paid salary. They are given promise that if they will lose, life in the fight, then the organization will take care of their family members, like that. So such organization is known as militia. Okay, so this word militancy has actually originated from the word militia. Okay, now one thing, very, very important, right? See, when it comes to militia, so what is militancy? When a social organization reorganizes itself on the pattern of armed force to challenge the regular defense force, security force and police of that particular region, it is termed as militancy. Have you understood? When a social organization reorganizes itself on the pattern of armed force to challenge the regular defense forces, security forces, police forces of that state or country, then it is termed as militancy. Okay, then it is termed as militancy. So when a social organization reorganizes itself on the pattern of armed forces to challenge the regular defense forces, security forces or police forces of that state or country, it is termed as militancy. Okay. So why we should not use the word militancy for terrorism? Okay, because I told you that in terrorism, you just see, in terrorism, if you can recollect, it is indiscriminate violence. Okay, but in militancy, for militant organization, their enemy is man or women in uniform. So they will not, right, they will not attack civilians. Militant organization will not attack civilians. Okay, militant organization will not attack, right? Civilian killing is not the characteristic feature of militancy. It's a feature of terrorism, but it's not a feature of militancy. Okay, so in militancy, for militant outfits, the enemy number one is defense forces, security forces, police forces. And I would just like you all to even remember this. Sometimes, right, sometimes civilian casualties is there in militancy, but it is non-intentional and incidental in nature. It's non-intentional. Intention was not to kill civilian, but sometime they land up killing civilians. Okay, but intention was not there. When they are making attack on security forces, some bullets may go and hit some common man and can be the reason for death of that civilian, but it is incidental, not intentional. Okay, not intentional. And I hope if you are reading newspapers, recently we saw in Jammu and Kashmir killing of 3 supporters of a particular political party, and that has triggered a debate that is Jammu and Kashmir now moving from, right, militancy towards, a different form of terrorism. Okay. So, have you understood, whenever we are using this word militancy, you must have seen, no, whether it is Pulwama attack. Okay, why we say that it was a, it is an example of militancy? Attack was on security force, or whether it was Pathankot, or whether it was Uri. Okay, so they always, militant outfits will always target whom? Police forces, security forces, defense forces, and they know that if they want independence of, to liberate some part, that is only possible if they are able to chase the security forces, defense forces. Okay. So, what I am just trying to, have you understood what is militancy? Right now, this problem of militancy as a threat to internal security is in which part of India? Jammu and Kashmir, right? Jammu and Kashmir. And I would just like you all to remember that some of the, some of the militant outfits or militant organizations which are operating on Jammu and Kashmir soil includes Lashkar-e-Toiba, you might have heard about it. What we call LET. Okay. Then ये बहुत deadly हो गया in the recent past, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Jaish-e-Mohammed. Okay, Jaish-e-Mohammed. पहले ये था, अभी भी है, अभी टू, हिजबुल मुजाहिदीन, हिजबुल मुजाहिदीन, हरकतुल जिहाद इस्लामी, हरकत उल जिहाद इस्लामी, हुजी, okay, हरकतुल जिहाद इस्लामी, हरकतुल मुजाहिदीन, many of them are there. हरकत उल मुजाहिदीन. All these are banned terrorist organization under UAPA. We will be talking about that as well. Harkatul Mujahideen. Okay. Then, there are so many. Al-Badr. Okay. So many of them. Right. Al-Badr. Now even JKLF and so many. Right, we will be talking about them, right, we will be talking about them. These are some of the, militant outfits which are responsible for intense bloodshed since 1990 on Kashmir soil. Okay. At one point of time, Kashmir was known as heaven on planet Earth, but these organizations, and I would say even political adventurism by governments in the name of permanent solution to Kashmir problem has made this heaven hell. Okay. At one point of time, this Kashmir used to hold the identity of paradise, heaven. No other place in the world has scenic beauty, cultural diversity, the way it is in Kashmir. Okay. So, we will have a detailed discussion on Kashmir issue and internal security threats in Jammu and Kashmir. We will have discussion, but militancy is the problem. I hope all of you have understood militancy. Okay. What exactly it is? Then insurgency. Another problem, internal security threat is insurgency. And this problem presently is in northeastern part of India. Northeastern part of India. So, I hope you all are aware with the fact that this word insurgency has actually originated from the word insurge. Insurge. And what is the meaning of this word insurge? To rise up. To rise up. So, what is the meaning of this word insurgency? To rise up against the state. Okay, to rise up against the state. So, I would just like you all to remember this, that whenever a group of local people, and you should use all these words, a group of local people will declare themselves as a rebel group. Okay, so group of local people will declare themselves as rebel group, and will rise up against the state, saying that constitution is not acceptable, constitution is not acceptable. And through underground movements, they will commit themselves to rewrite the new constitution, and create a new politico-administrative setup in the region, then it is termed as insurgency. Okay. So, local people will be there, they will form group, they will declare themselves as a rebel group, and they will say, we do not have belief in this constitution, we do not accept the supremacy of this constitution, we will rewrite a new constitution for ourselves, and we will create accordingly a new politico-administrative setup in that part. Then this is what is termed as insurgency. So, what is insurgency? Right? What is insurgency? Insurgency is when a social organization consisting of local people will declare openly that they are rebel group and they do not accept the constitution, and the group members will indulge themselves into underground movement, meaning they will operate from dense forest, from hideouts, okay, and they will commit themselves to rewrite new constitution and accordingly to set up a new politico-administrative structure. Then this is what is termed as insurgency. And in insurgency and militancy both, very well defined ideology is there, very well defined ideology. And when I am saying ideology, what I mean? that they know very well what they want to achieve, and then they have already decided what they want to achieve, through what means. So, end and means clarity is there. Okay, end and means clarity is there. Terrorism, right? Terrorism, end is not very clear. What actually they want to achieve, that is not very clear. Means, they know indiscriminate violence, intentional violence, that much they are very clear. Okay. So, there is a well defined ideology in insurgency, there is well defined ideology in militancy, and when I am using the word ideology, right, complete clarity about the end and the means to achieve that end. Okay, means to achieve that end, that clarity is there in militancy. And presently militancy, right, militancy is a big problem in northeastern part of India, though even northeast has reported significant decline in insurgency, okay, in recent past, but even today it remains a big problem, even today it remains a big problem. And let me tell you, right, let me tell you that as per estimates by internal security experts, as per estimates by internal security experts, many insurgent outfits are operating on northeastern soil of India, northeastern soil of India. We will have discussion, right, we will have discussion about them, okay. But some of them, if you can remember the name, one is NSCN, National Socialist Council of Nagaland, NSCN. This is one of the deadly insurgent outfit. Right now it is in talk with Government of India. You might have read in the recent past framework agreement which has been signed. We will have discussion. Okay. So, NSCN, National Socialist Council of Nagaland, and there are different factions. Okay. So, one is IM, NSCN IM. Okay. IM is what? Isaac Miwa, right? Whenever we are using this word, Isaac Miwa, M-U-V-I-A-H, Isaac Miwa. So, when this organization was formed, NSCN IM, Isaac Chisisu was the chairman and Tunglang Miwa was the general secretary or supreme military commander, and that is why the faction is known as Isaac Miwa. Okay. So, we will have discussion, but one faction. Another faction, and this is which we have declared recently as a terrorist organization. Okay. So, NSCN Khaplang, NSCN Khaplang. Okay. So, K, Khaplang, NSCN Khaplang. Okay. NSCN, another faction is Khaplang. Those who would have, right, those who would have watched the movie Uri, the surgical strike which we did after Uri terror attack in POK. Okay. Before that, we did a surgical strike in Myanmar when NSCN Khaplang attacked our security forces in Chandel district of Manipur. 17 of the personnel were killed, and immediately after that our security forces carried out surgical strike on Myanmar soil as well. So, NSCN Khaplang, and in addition to this, right, we also have NSCN KK, not a very small faction, but NSCN KK. So Konyak Kitovi faction. They are the leaders, title of the leaders, Kitovi. Okay. We also have one NSCN R. This is Reformation. They are pro-Tox. Okay. So Reformation. So one is NSCN, different factions are there, many insurgent groups are there. Okay. Then we have ULFA. You might have heard in Assam. This NSCN is in Nagaland, Manipur. Okay. ULFA, United Liberation Front of Assam. Okay. United Liberation Front of Assam. ULFA. Okay. And again in ULFA, United Liberation Front of Assam, okay, various factions are there, right, various factions are there. One is, ULFA I, that is ULFA Independent, they call themselves ULFA Independent I, okay, ULFA Independent. Similarly, right, there are others. Okay, I don't want to burden you at this stage. We have NDFB, अभी इसके साथ भी agreement हुआ है, इस पे questions आने का बहुत chance है. NDFB, National Democratic Front of Bodoland, this is in Lower Assam. Okay, again outfit in Assam and other parts of Northeast. Okay, so NDFB, National Democratic Front of Bodoland, और इसमें भी बहुत सारा factions है, इसमें नाम याद रखना है because it is so much in news. So one is NDFB S, other is NDFB RD, third is NDFB S, okay, NDFB RD, NDFB P, okay, NDFB National Democratic Front of Bodoland. P is progressive, they are calling themselves progressive, okay, progressive. When RD is Ranjan Dimeri, okay, so one of the leader, okay, Ranjan Dimeri, okay, and when we are using this word NDFBS, right, so Saurai Gwara, this is why, so NDFB, right, NDFB, okay, so that is, right, that is something which is there. In addition to this, in Assam we also have KPLT, this is in one part of Assam, KPLT, Karbi People's Liberation Tigers, Karbi, one of the ethnic group, Karbi People's Liberation Tigers, okay, Liberation Tigers, okay. So that is, right, that is what I would just like you all to remember, right, like you all to remember. Now, I would just say that many other insurgent outfits are there. For example, in Meghalaya, we have GNLA, some of you might have heard of this, GNLA, Garo National Liberation Army, okay, Garo National Liberation Army, GNLA, Garo National Liberation Army, okay. Then we also have HNLC in Meghalaya only, HNLC, this HNLC is Hainew-Trep National Liberation Council, National Liberation Council, right? That is a Khasi militant group. We will talk about Garo, Khasi, Jaintia, the three important tribes in Meghalaya. Okay, so Garo National Liberation Army is a Garo militant group, but HNLC is a Khasi, is a Khasi militant group. Okay, in the state of Meghalaya. Similarly, right? Similarly, if we see out of all northeastern states, we will do a comparative study. Out of all northeastern states, as on date, today if we see, maximum insurgency related incidents are reported from Manipur. And I would say, right, I would say that in Manipur, right, in Manipur, a small militant, insurgent outfits are there, and these insurgent outfits are associated with different community. So some of them are from Maite community, some of them from Naga community, some of them from Kuki, some of them from Jomi, some of them from Mar, Amar, and some Muslim, right, some Muslim underground outfits. Okay. So small insurgent outfits associated with different community, right, in Manipur, in addition to NSCN. NSCN is very much there, right, in the state of Manipur, but insurgency is a problem in internal security threat in the northeastern part of India, So we will talk about that in detail, but at this point of time I am just interested in you people understanding that diverse and complex nature internal security threats, so terrorism, militancy, terrorism in all parts of every nook and corner of the country has seen some or other terrorist, incident, terror attacks. No city of India, whether it's Guwahati or Mumbai, or whether it's Patna or Varanasi, whether it's Bangalore or Hyderabad, or whether it is Delhi, whether it's Jaipur, whether it's Indore, right? You name a city, and in last 10, 15 years, 20 years, we have seen, terror attack in most of the cities from all parts. So terrorism as a problem is there. I told you we are one of the worst victim of terrorism in the world. So I hope you understood, right, what is militancy. Okay. Now coming to, right, religious fundamentalism. Okay, religious fundamentalism. Okay, I don't know how many of you understand this word, fundamentalism. Okay, fundamentalism. Who is termed as fundamentalist? Yes, some of you. Who is said to be fundamentalist? Yes. Yes, tell me who is, right, fundamentalist? Who is fundamentalist? See, we call a person fundamentalist if that person has a view, right, that person holds an opinion that his views are final and has no respect for, difference of opinion. Okay, no respect for difference of opinion, and whatever I say is full and final. That kind of mindset is termed as, that kind of approach is termed as fundamentalist approach. Okay, so my views are supreme, my views are final. Nobody can have difference of opinion with me, right? Nobody can have difference of opinion with me. If this is what is my attitude, approach, mindset, then I am a fundamentalist. Okay, then only I can be termed as a fundamentalist. So, who is a fundamentalist? Someone who feels that his view is supreme, his or her view is supreme, has no respect for difference of opinion, does not allow any difference of opinion. Okay, does not allow any difference of opinion. And I would just like you all to have this understanding that when we are using this word, right, when we are using this word religious fundamentalism, when we are connecting fundamentalism with religion, then what it means, right? Someone who wants to establish the supremacy of his or her religion, okay, and that too through violence. Someone who has hatred towards others' religion because he wants to establish the supremacy of his religion, her religion, such people, right, such people are termed as, what? Such people are termed as religious fundamentalist. And friends, I would just like you all to remember that India is a secular country. And what is the meaning of secularism? Technically, secularism means the state will have no religion of its own. The state will treat all religion alike. A country in which people have been given full freedom about religion, religious beliefs and practices. Religion is an individual's affair. Okay. So, I would just like you all to remember this, right? I would just like you all to remember this, that secularism and Indian secularism is different than Western secularism. You know why? No other country in the world has religious diversity the way it is in India. No other part in the world. India is the, right, birthplace of 4 religions. I hope you know that. Hinduism, Sikhism, Jainism, Buddhism. All these religions have born on Indian soil. And then, of course, Islam and Christianity is very important religion in India. Right? Islam and Christianity. Second highest number of Muslims in the world in India. And when it comes to Christianity, Christian population in India is more than the total Christian population in many of the European countries. In addition to the 6 religions, we have many, and in all religions, we have, different sects. And Indian secularism, in Hindi we are using the word dharm nirpekshata and panth nirpekshata. When you will study about, most of you have studied Indian, constitution, article 25, 4 types of freedom has been given as fundamental freedom, fundamental rights to every person on Indian soil. And what is that? Right? To profess, practice, propagate and conscience. Conscience, profess, practice, propagate religion. Okay, propagate religion. So you should decide about your religion based on your inner voice and the way you want to practice your religion. It's up to you. It's up to you. Okay, because in Hinduism, there are people who have faith in idol worship. There are people who have no faith in idol worship. Okay, even in Islam, we have Shias and we have Sunnis with different belief. In Christianity, we have, people with different belief. Catholic, Roman, Protestants, and so many. In Jainism, Digambar, Swetambar, in every religion, different sects are there. And full freedom is there. Now let me just tell you, where is the problem? The problem is arising, again, many people in today's India, they are trying to become the flag bearer of their religion. And sad part of the story, that they don't know their own religion. Such people are becoming the flag bearer of their own religion. Okay, so many who has not studied Quran Sharif, जिसने कुरान का एक इनायत नहीं पढ़ा है, वो इस्लाम का फ्लैग बियरर है. Someone who has not studied Gita, they cannot even recite 10 slokas of Gita, or has not even studied any other religious Hindu text. गीता ठीक से पढ़ा नहीं, हिंदुइज्म का फ्लैग बियरर बन गया. कुरान पढ़ा नहीं, इस्लाम का फ्लैग बियरर बन गया. बाइबल ठीक से पढ़ा नहीं, क्रिश्चियनिटी का फ्लैग बियरर बन गया. गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब ठीक से पढ़ा नहीं, सिखिज्म का, they are becoming the flag bearer of Sikhism. When you will read the religious text, then you will realize teachings and tenets of all religion is by and large same. Love, compassion, truth, non-violence, and so on and so forth. Ultimate teaching is this in every religion. Okay, now let me tell you, this is a very important discussion. See, even Constitution of India is giving us the freedom of conscience, profess, practice, and even propagate. So, you should decide about your religion based on your inner voice, and whatever you decide, you tell that to world that I am a Hindu, I believe in Hinduism. And then you can even tell the world what good things are there related with your religion. Till this point, no harm. Right? Till this point, no harm. When you are telling the world what great things are there in your religion, but the moment you say what are the wrong things with other religion, that is communalism. This is the drawing line. You need to understand. If you are talking about your caste, we will say, you are caste conscious. But the moment you say wrong thing about other caste, that is casteism. Till the point you are talking about great things related to your reason. If you are from, let us give an example. I am from Bihar. If I say what are the great things about Bihar, I am region conscious. But the moment I say problem of Bihar is because of Bengal, this is regionalism. You need to understand this dividing line. So till you talk great things about your religion, you are religion conscious. But the moment you say anything bad about other religion, you are communal. Okay. So, and you can make comments, comparative comments you can definitely make, but only after in-depth study. If you have studied Quran Sharif, if you have studied Gita, if you have, then you compare that on this is what Hinduism is about, this is what Islam is about, this is what Christianity is about. But this right is only to whom? Someone who has done some study. Again, University of WhatsApp, an institute of Facebook, if he is teaching you something, right, at superficial level, that cannot be the ground to speak something. Okay. So, this is where, are you getting that? Religious fundamentalism, and we are seeing radicalization of youths, religion-centric radicalization we are seeing, growing religious fundamentalism in India, and that is emerging as a big threat to our internal security. On small incidents, we are seeing the atmosphere is getting surcharged. A very surcharged atmosphere is created, and we are seeing outbreak of communal riots. Outbreak of communal riots. Recently in the national capital we have seen. Very sad, very frustrating, very disturbing, that kind of incident and events are black spot on the, right, on the secular credentials of India, secular credentials of India. Okay. So, I would just like you all to have this, and friends, let me tell you one thing. When you will clear prelims exam and will write main, and when you will clear main exam and will go for personality test, which is popular among aspirants in the name of interview. I don't know whether you are aware, the UPSC board will do a purposive conversation with you for 25 to 30 minutes, and through that conversation they will evaluate your personality and they will see the suitability of it for a career in public service. And one of the personality traits they see, how secular, how much secular you are in your approach. So, this facet of your personality will undergo strict scrutiny during civil service interview. And those 5 people, believe me, you cannot fool them. You cannot hide anything from them, because during half an hour conversation, one person will ask question and will listen to what you have to say. But other 4, some among them with closed eyes will be listening to what you are not speaking. One will say, right, one will just listen to what you are speaking. The remaining 4 members, they are listening to what you are not speaking. Okay. So, right, so you need to bring it in your personality. And when I am using the word secularism, it is not only confined to religion. You should have respect, genuine respect for others' religion. You should have genuine respect towards other gender. If you are a male, truly you should have respect towards women. And if you are a female, then you should also have, right, respect towards, other gender. Similarly, others' language, others' culture, others' ethnicity. Okay, you need to have genuine respect. And believe me, my friends, respect is something which you will give in higher quantity you will get. If you respect others' religion, others will respect your religion more than what you respect. This is something which you always get more in return. And one more thing, age old saying, respect is not demanded, it is commanded. So we should not ask people to respect our religion, but our conduct should be of that nature that the people feel respectful towards our religion, whatever may be our religion, whatever may be my religion. Okay, so religious fundamentalism is emerging, evolving as a new threat to our internal security. Okay, internal security. So I hope you have understood, right, what is terrorism, okay, what is terrorism, what is militancy, what is insurgency, what is religious fundamentalism, and we will come to these, right. I will take up for discussion insurgency in Northeast, I will take up for discussion militancy in Jammu and Kashmir, I will take up for discussion religious fundamentalism as a threat to internal security. Okay, but tomorrow I am starting with left-wing extremism, Naxalism, Maoist insurgency as a threat to internal security of the country. So on this note, I will wind up the session today, and next 10 minutes I will take up the questions which you have.